Hi everyone, Miss Trautz here. Today's assignment is going to deal with an artist named Wesley Kandinsky who did modern art and was one of the pioneers for modern art in shape and transparency. And that leads us into shape and transparency. We're going to use a fun way of seeing color and percentage in math. So I'm super excited to start. Let's do this. Wesley Kandinsky. Wesley Kandinsky was a Russian painter and art theorist. Kandinsky is generally credited as the pioneer of abstract art. He was born in Moscow, and Kandinsky spent his childhood in Odessa, where he graduated at the Greco-Odessa Art School. He enrolled at the University of Moscow studying law and economics. So this is part of the reason why Wesley Kandinsky was thought of one of the greatest abstract artists and the pioneer of abstract art because he changed it in so many ways. But here we can see that he uses simple shape and he uses transparency with simple shape to create abstract art. He also knows how to get your eye to move around the page the way he places these simple shapes. So abstract art, this is a great example of abstract art and how important it is and how it just depicts just using simple objects in a really well thought out way to create this art piece. So as you can see, he uses a triangle here, and this is called the variegation in the triangle, which is very mathematical in itself. And using the percentages of paint and how he applies that is very mathematical due to the fact that he's using percentages. So we're going to be using percentages today. So without further ado, using this example, we'll create something like this in our digital art program. We're going to move forward. I can't wait to start. Chrome, and like previously, we're going to go to Sketchpad. So we type in Sketch Pad, and when I hit return, I'm going to go to 5.1. Now, as you can see, I have two blue squares on here. This is just to show you that we're going to be working with transparency, and as you can see, when I put this square on top of this square, I can see part of the square through the other square, which means it's transparent. Now, how I got that to happen is I used percentage of color. So we're going to do a little math here, fun math. It is percentages. So over here, I can see I'm at 90%. This square is at 90%. You can see it here. So I'm going to start fresh so that you can see how I did that. And I'm going to hit the plus button for new, and I'm going to hit blank. Now when I did that, I came up with a fresh canvas. You can see a fresh canvas here. So today we're going to use the shape tool, which sometimes has a star when you we're starting. Okay, and you can see right here the red little bubble says square. So this is the shape tool, and when I click on it, I get all these options down here. So the fill color, the outline. I have this outline crossed out, so I'm just going to click on that to cross out. Remember, pause this video anytime you need so you can go back, you can rewind just so you can work with it. So it says set stroke opacity. So we're talking about opacity over here, but we're not going to worry about this outline. We're going to worry about the fill for right now. So set fill opacity. Opacity is the percentage of color that's right here. I have it at 90%. I'm going to change it back to 100 so you can see this is 100%. We're working in percents. So I have the square. I have the square clicked here. This is where all my options are. These are all the shapes that you can use to create this artwork. So right now I have this square, and I'm going to use flat color blue. which I have on right now. I just think it's easier for a lesson in blue. I don't know why, it's just something I like. So we can change the roundness, the cutout, but right now we're just gonna worry about this right here. So square's on. I draw my square, and as you can see, I can flip it, do whatever I want with it as I'm drawing it. I'm gonna keep it straight, so just to make it simple. We're gonna be using this square, the shape tool, and the selection tool. So here's the selection tool. I use the selection tool to select the square and change it to my liking. So I'm gonna have a larger square on screen. I'm bringing it to here, to the left-hand top corner. Okay, I'm gonna go back to a square because I want another one, and I'm gonna draw another square on top. Remember, this is 100%, so you cannot see through this shape. So now that I've clicked on it, and I go up to the percents, and I change that percent by typing in 90%, watch what happens. You have now the opacity is not 100%. It is now transparent, and you can see that. You can see through the square. A lot of artists use transparency to create depth and create really cool artwork. So what I want you to do is work on creating some really cool artwork with transparency. I'm going to speed this up so it moves very quickly so we can get down to your first drawing, your first digital drawing using shape. Piece, you're going to need a new blank canvas because you may have squares from the last piece. So hit the plus sign down here. You can see it says new. I'm going to hit blank and create. Now I'm going to go back to that shape tool, but this time instead of using squares the whole time like Wesley Kandinsky, I'm going to be able to use all different shapes. I just want to practice with my transparency and my percentages. So I'm going to start out with a triangle. I'm going to go to the fill, and you are not limited to just flat color. If you would like to use gradients, you may. So I'm on the gradients palette, and I'm going to start out with pink and purple. And I have that triangle selection tool. We always move around our shape with the selection tool. This is at 100%. I'm going to use different percentages. So the smaller the percent, the less color I have. So I can leave this at 100 because, or 90, let's put it at 90, because I'm gonna go over on top. This is my first shape. So I'm gonna take a triangle again. I am going to go to fill. I wanna change that color. We don't wanna do that. I want a new triangle. I click on triangle, go to that color. I'm gonna try gray. And start that triangle. Now as you can see, this is at 90, so I can still see the transparency behind it. So I'm going to make it even lighter. And if it's not changing color, it's not selected. So here we go. I'm going to go down to 20%. And there it is, so light, like barely, you can barely see it. So now I'm going to take that triangle, I'm going to copy and paste, and when you're working and copying and pasting, you can use the editing tool right up here, the red. If you click on it, you can go to copy, and then you can go to paste. And as you can see, I get another triangle, and I can rotate that and do as I wish. The other way that I can copy and paste is, I've talked about this previously, I can hit Control C and Control V on a PC. If you're on a Mac, it is Command C, Command V. And those are two different. So you're going to use the Control C and Control V to copy. So I'm going to change this to a smaller, because not only do we want to work with transparency and the different percentages of the colors on this, but we also want to work with scale. So we want bigger elements. In fact, our elements are shapes right now, but we want bigger ones and smaller ones. So that always makes more artwork stand out. Okay, so I'm using those triangles. I'm going to go and maybe pick another. I'm going to use circles like Kandinsky. And as you can see, they're still transparent. So now I'm going to stop right there, and I'm going to move forward and do this very quickly so you can see my final piece, so that you can get started on yours also. I would love to see these pictures. If you can, my students, please upload them to Google Classroom if you can, or you can email me at studentwork@heathertrautz.com, and I'll put that on the screen. So right now I'm going to continue to work, and you can just see the final product. As the final piece, we see there's different elements, they're different shapes, they're different sizes, which is the scale. We were working on scale for the second piece with different sizes. As you can see, we have circles that are larger, circles that are smaller. That's going to lead the viewer's eye all around your page and your abstract piece. People think, oh, abstract, anybody can do it. Actually, it takes a lot of thought, and you just saw how I placed the different elements on the screen with the different scale and sizes, and then I used the different percentages to create transparency. So I took that the percentages, and we have some that are darker at 100%, we have some that are at 30%, and you can go around and look at the percentages around here that create this. Having those different opacities creates these different transparency. So here, even the larger pieces I changed to be transparent. This is obviously 100%. So those are the things we had to think about with our second one. Now the third one, I want you to take all the things that we talked about, and I want you to create your own absolute last one, final piece. So your first one, we'll go over that. Your first one had to have just the transparencies and the 1 to 2 to 3 colors. This second one, I wanted you to focus on not only transparency, but the different variations of scale, the different scales that we used. Now the third one, I want you to take all this that we've learned and combine it all into your own abstract piece. So you have a week, so take your time. I'd love to see your artwork, and you can email that at studentwork@heathertrautz.com, or we can upload to Google. So I'm going to place those different stickers like on here to show you what to do. All right, I hope you guys have a great week. Have fun doing these relaxing abstract pieces. and think of everything that we learned in this lesson.